Welcome back to the Score Sunday. We are now joined by Chris Schwartz, the new Assistant Executive Director of the IHSA. Chris, first of all, congratulations on the new position. But before we kind of get to where you're at now and going to be with the IHSA, let's kind of dive back into where you came from. 2005 Moline grad, played a little football, baseball. What am I missing there? Give me a little bit about your background.
Yeah, like you said, grew up in Moline. I was fortunate to be a part of the football and baseball programs while at Moline. Went on to Monmouth College from there. I was lucky enough to play baseball at Monmouth College. And I actually, lo and behold, found first teaching job not too far from Monmouth. And my wife and I met at Monmouth College, and this is where we've settled since then. Starting off as a junior high science teacher at La Harpe Junior High, which is just outside of Macomb, and from there, I was assistant principal in Burlington for a few years, and then became part of the United School District, served as their junior high principal, and in recent years have been the high school principal here at the United School District. Was fortunate that all those experiences kind of led to me having a pretty unique, what I would say, background and skill set because of that. And I think that eventually, helped my cause when pursuing this opportunity with the IHSA.
So Kirk Gibson announced his retirement earlier in the year, or this past year. And is that kind of when it got put on your radar? How did this position, knowing that you've kind of worked your way up to be principal and you were going to be the superintendent next year at Monmouth United, how did this kind of get on your radar?
Yeah, so I joked that it all started at a boat ramp in New Boston. So I'm the bass fishing coach at the high school, and Kirk Gibson is the state administrator for bass fishing. So we had been going back and forth and kind of developed a relationship through that process, and we were trying, and I'm trying to advocate to having our bass fishing sectional move to the river instead of at Lake McMaster, which is outside of Galesburg. And he said, "Yeah, I'll meet you there. You just tell me a time next week." And that really stood out to me. Really, it mattered to me because I feel like those administrators are always so approachable, willing to serve. And so he met me at the boat ramp, wanted to tour the facility, wanted to, kind of see what that had to offer. Just a really positive experience. And that was in August. It was a week later that his retirement was announced. And I've always looked at those positions as positions that I felt would, fit my skill set and just be awesome to work with kids across the state.
So you've seen the IHSA work from the outside looking in. What have you liked about the organization that kind of also intrigued you to be part of it as well?
The thing when I went down and when I interviewed, I had a lot of time to reflect on that, as high school athlete playing football and baseball, being part of awesome programs, and just it really came down to the lifelong memories and friendships. And, without the IHSA, without, some of the playoff formatting that they have and some of the memories that I've made, making it to a super sectional in baseball as an example, wouldn't trade those memories for anything, wouldn't trade those friendships for anything, wouldn't trade, learning from the coaches that I did for anything. And, they're really in the business of making lifelong memories. It's a democratic process from the standpoint that all of the schools that we serve have this opportunity to vote. And those are the two things that stood out for me, is just the ability to provide those lifelong memories that I had and that means so much to me. And then also just being part of such a big organization that represents the schools and the students and administrators and coaches, officials throughout the state.
Obviously, this wasn't a decision you made overnight. Kind of take me through the thought process, because you had a great position that you're in right now currently as the principal, and potentially would have been superintendent next year at Monmouth United, as I mentioned before. Was the thought process long and painstaking, or was it when they offered, it was like, yep, this is for me?
We kind of made that decision before we applied, that if this was something that was going to happen, we were ready to accept that. We didn't want to jump into it without, feeling that, this was potentially the right move for us. A lot of prayer, a lot of, faith that went into that. And like I said, it's just been such a affirming process from the beginning. There's a lot of amazing people that I've been able to meet down here, part of the United School District, but also the United community. It's been an incredible place to grow up. It's been an incredible place to be a part of in terms of a community and also to raise a young family.
So you've seen the IHSA operate from player, from coach, and now you're going to be part of that group. What do you hope to bring to the table at the IHSA and kind of now that you're on the inside?
Yeah, I think the fact that I've had so many different experiences with so many different people, and what I mean by that is, like you said, I've been fortunate enough to be a head varsity coach. I've been fortunate enough to start a program, with bass fishing. Fortunate to be an administrator within the state. So I feel like no matter what my roles and responsibilities are going to be, having those experiences are going to help form relationships. That's what it's really all about is forming those trusting relationships with people across the state. Just to be able to have that honest conversation and get that feedback to try and improve on the programs that we have, but possibly create new programs as well. Program development has always been my passion. What can we create and what can we improve on to make things better for kids? That's who I am at my core, and that's the mindset that I'll have going down there. But I'm excited to work with the administrative team. I'm excited to learn. It's going to be a very humbling process. First couple of years, just learning the ropes and just learning the craft and trying to dive deep into whatever sport and assignment that I'm given.
Well, Chris, we want to thank you for joining us, and good luck to you in the IHSA. Of course, you have a half semester still to finish up at United High School, finish up strong there, and we look forward to see all the great things that you do with the IHSA.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me on.
And we'll be right back on The Score Sunday with our FCA Story of the Week.